Inside a small house on a snowy night, a glass of wine had fallen to the floor. A man was on his knees and in a very bad condition. He had been poisoned with wine. That neutralized the mana in his veins. Blonde Emperor was standing in front of him who mixed poison and wine and gave it to that man. And because poison does not affect the person in front of him quickly, that's why he had mixed the other poison as well. Ian Page, person who has been poisoned, asked the reason as he swallowed the thick blood in his mouth. Do you not know already? The Emperor's voice was surprisingly unconcerned. Your strength, as Emperor replied. Ian Page's power has been no help for the days after the unification. In wartime it may have been different, but right now it is something that causes Emperor unease. As long as Ian Page lives as an ally to the Empire, that fact alone is enough to light the fire of rebellion. Therefore, I shall go back to my hometown and live the rest of my life in penitence. These are the lines Ian Page spoke back there. Ian could not project his voice any longer. The very counterflow to his blood was difficult to cope with. He was regretting because many people have lost their lives because of his powerful magic. Emperor was afraid of him because of his old friend Ian. He almost get insane, afraid of the 8th class magician. Because his old friend Ian, he was maddened by fear. He and his kingdom. Ian is savage monster that can take it all from him. How so can he let such a monster live? By all means, do not forgive my actions. That was the end of the Emperor's words. As he left the cottage, a fire erupted all around. Ian could never have imagined it would have come to this. He could have never imagined the depth of madness the Emperor Ragnar Greenriver fell into. He was too careless. However, Ian took out an object from his bosom, thinking that Ragnar was a bit careless. Ian been researching while regretting the life. He took out blade to the handle with jewels and engravings. Rather than a bladed tool, it looked more like a decorative piece. It was possible to turn back time. It was possible to reset everything. With this little dagger, there was only one place that the poison had yet to affect him. The place that regulated all mana within the body, the small core within his heart. With this he can use magic last time. At that very place, he pierces the dagger to drain all possible power source that was called mana. Simultaneously, Ian had started his chant. One by one, words were spurted out painfully. By no means did this sound come through his voice, nor was this a common chant. The intense blue light gradually hid the great archmage Ian Page. As soon blue light starting to fade, old memories of Ian Page come in front of him like panorama, in which he see Emperor and himself in middle of a pile of bodies. As Ian was regaining consciousness, the very first thing he felt was nausea. The nausea was so bad, he felt like vomiting. He thought what happened. Hurriedly, he searched his chest. Blood, wounds, pain, he didn't feel any of it. He was certain something unusual happened. Ian, what is wrong with you? Someone called him from behind. There was a beautiful lady with golden hair. It was his mother. He thinks, did I succeed? Clasping his mother's hand tightly. Or did he fall into the world of the dead? Ian looked around. A row of thousands of children seemed to have lined up for testing. And the territory's knights who are keeping people in order. The white flag is fluttering on top of the ivory tower. He has come back in 30 years in the past. Mana reaction test. In order to train magician who are the foundation of the country's power, every children in the Green River Empire has to take the mana reaction test when they turn 12 years old. The first qualification is a mana brain who is the charge of magic's manifestation. The second qualification is mana production and simplification, an institutional that will oversee the storage, a mana heart. Those who poses both qualification will immediately be enter in Magic Academy, and they will have the authority compatible to that of nobles when they graduate. Ian Page didn't thought that he could come back in 30 years. The dragons was commonly known as the initiator of magic. They had created the ancient language, dragon chant, which is also called the foundation of magic. The time magic that he put his all years to learn, succeed before he died. It was simple just to remove the blood on his hand at first, but under the title of friend he gave everything. And under the name of royalty he killed many people. For the Emperor and his best friend Ragnar, who he was faithful and loyal to. In the end he was used and killed. But this is his second chance and he can't end this in vain. But in order to do that he need to get back at first, the power of class 8 and even beyond that. As Ian came to the resolution of the heart, it was his turn for the mana reaction test. Ian tried to comfort his mother, whose face was full of worry. Walking forward to the soldier in front of the tent, he spoke, I am Ian from Mogrian village. The soldier know Ian mother Vanessa, as he said him to go ahead, and not to bother the mage with useless questions. The soldier's eye was clammy as he had his sight focused on Ian's mother, something Ian could have never noticed in his youthful ignorance. Mage were asking Sir Aaron about how many children are left, because the mage had already tested several hundred children. The mage's voice was full of tiredness. Ian entered the tent. With a gentle voice, the mage called Ian. It was his business smile. He said to Ian to bow his head for a bit. I will prod your head slightly with mana. You could feel dizzy, but it's momentary, so do not worry. Speaking as such, the mage laid his hand on Ian's head. After that he said Ian to turn his back facing him. Ian was hesitant seeing the mage hurrying about, as if it reminded him of something. Mage suddenly said, I just discovered your mana brain. It means that life is about to turn about right in front of your nose. What is if your heart also has a mana break? He think a simple academy admission is not enough. Ian opened his mouth and said to Mage that he has something to show him. Mage asked what is it. He thinks should he be a bit more bold. In Ian's hand, a small fist-sized fire erupted. A basic magic belonging to the first-class fireball. The mage's eye popped wide open. In his other hand, Ian made a tear-shaped water ball. This time, it was Aqua Ball. Ian using double casting. Ian said that he doesn't know why, but this is happening from while. The knights watching nearby was of similar disbelief. Mage was still in shock and asked him if did someone teach you such skill. Ian shook his head saying no. The mage cast magic of determining lies as he again asked his questions. This magic checked the instinctive biological response such as the spike in heartbeat or the dilation of the pupil. Mage explained him that if he is lying then he could be a traitor. Mean not only he, his family, even his neighbors could be executed. But he replied that he has no reason to lie. The mage's mouth split open and out of it laughter came. No lies were revealed while using the magic of determining lies. Thinking that this child is extraordinary. Suddenly there was a scream of women. It was his mother's voice. Without any hesitation, Ian rushed out of the tent. His mother stopping the soldier in front of her who is trying to hold her. Soldier was suppressing her voice, saying that there are important people inside. He was saying humiliating words. Ask her if she is feel lonely at night after being a widow for 7 years. There are plenty men who will sneak into her bed if she just let the door open. Ian's mom was stunned to hear these words. What is this fuss? Suddenly one of the knights, who is named Aaron, asked. The soldier who was sexually insulting Ian's mother was stunned. It is nothing, sir. This degraded kitchen maid dared to look inside the tent. I give her strong warning. As soldier saying this, Ian cut into his excuse, but Mage stopped him and said that this kid is turned out to be a wizard with 2 mana quantities. Therefore Ian has the same authority as the nobles of the empire. To insult the nobles and wizard is like a challenge to imperial family and the ivory tower. It's a crime of treason and punishable by death. As these words come out from Mage, knights drew their swords. He quickly bowed down, hammering his head on the ground. Now, the apologies were targeted to Ian, neither knight nor mage. Ian indicated to his mother and spoke quietly. It is not me who you should apologizing to. The soldier now turned his body to Vanessa and repeated what he just did to Ian. He was so desperate that even Ian's mother who was receiving the apology felt uncomfortable. After recalling bitterness he squatted in front of the soldier. A whisper only the soldier can listen as he say that he exactly know how rubbishes like soldier think about his mother, saying dirty jokes about her. So what he saw and heard today, relay it to the bastards like him. Then he made an eerie face at him and said that he is watching. No one would have imagined such an expression came from a 12-year-old kid. Mage was thinking bitterly that to have such talent and intelligence at such a young age, the royal family and the ivory tower will be in commotion.